So wanted to welcome everyone to our MoxiWorks Hours Essentials. For anybody wondering, the famous Alex is on vacation. He deserves it. So hopefully he's having a wonderful time. And today you will be, we'll be going over database strategies and save searches in MoxiEngage. So a little bit, let's see if it's gonna, there we go. A little bit about us. I didn't highlight Debbie, sorry, Debbie. But on this call, I'm your presenter. My name's Angie. Alex is on vacation. Jen is off working on something else. We do have the famous Brett on the call as well, and the infamous Debbie. She'll be trying to answer any questions that you might have in chat. But we always ask that if you would like to hold some of those questions, we might get to them as we are presenting. So a few housekeeping items with that during the session, of course, use the chat if you have questions. Debbie will try to answer them, but again, if you do that, please make sure that you send it to everyone, only because what we find is sometimes people have the same question that you do. It's probably a question that I had when I was learning Moxie as well. We will have an open Q&A at the end of the session so that you can unmute your mic and ask questions, vocally if you want to, or add them to the chat at the end if we haven't already answered them. So we've intended this to give you kind of a chance to dive a little bit deeper into some of the tools, just to see what there is to see, and to give you a little bit more information. So we are recording this session. So after the session, we will send that out with any notes or any resources that come along with it. And it's really nice that you have the ability to maybe make us stop talking and pause us and kind of get into the material yourself if you want to. So we do have a poll. Debbie, if you could launch that poll for us to see when you have, if you've ever attended one of these sessions before, and the current state of your office as it relates to, so if you have any experience with the Moxie, well, this says Moxie websites, we're doing MoxiEngage. That's all right. We'll pretend like it says engage. And then how many MoxiWorks hours have you attended before? Just remember, it says MoxiEngage, or it says Moxie websites. We are going to go over MoxiEngage. So my apologies for that. It looks like a good number of you have been to at least a few of these before. And a few of you, this is your first one. So welcome, everyone. Hopefully you'll get some really good content. It looks like it's giving us about another minute or two to fill it out. And Debbie, whenever you want to end that poll, I'll end that poll. So it looks like we have a mixed level here of people that have, been in the tool and looked at it a little bit, or maybe they've taken some training, or maybe they don't have an experience at all. So that's okay. We are all here to learn together. So that'll be fun. We'll do that together. All righty. So let's see if this is going to let me click through to, there we go. So we do have some facts for you. So this is our who, our what, our where, our why, our how. Some of the prerequisites that you should be aware of as we move through this particular session. So the who, all of our content is targeted to agents, but it's recommended for everyone: leadership, brokers, owners, admins, coaches, anyone. If you're on this call, you definitely belong here, and we're glad that you're here. So the what is micro learning. So again, we're going to dive into the products. Today it's MoxiEngage to enhance our skill set and find out if there's something super cool that maybe we didn't know was in the product. Learning the how-tos of some of the product functions and, sharing our best practices. And then of course, we are here to answer your questions. What it's not designed to do. So it's not designed for tech support. So if you do have a tech issue, the greatest thing that you can do, the best way to do that is to follow the established support protocols and log into support.moxieworks.com and create a ticket. This is also not an all-inclusive training session. So we're going to give you some tips, some tricks, some best practices, but this is to enhance the training that you've already received or that you will receive in the future. So just letting you know that up front. And then we do have our Zoom registration, and we will send the slide deck to you with the copy of the recording. So you'll be able to go in and you'll be able to click on all of those links for yourself. Ready? So some more of our facts. We do meet bi-weekly, so every other week on Thursdays, 1 o'clock Eastern time. And again, this is to maximize your knowledge of the products. So it's here to we've showcased many parts of the product suite and the platform so that you can become more efficient. And really, we want you guys to be more successful. We want you to be confident and comfortable using the products because we already know it's going to help you achieve your goals. It's going to help you make more money and be more productive and more efficient, like I said. So we're going to do that through slides, and we are going to have a live demo today. So we're going to go right into MoxiEngage, and we're going to show you in real time how to create a saved search. Also, some of the prerequisites might be your product launch training, and then the e-learning sessions on your brand university. And we'll kind of show you at the end how to access those as well. So you'll see here the MoxiWorks suite. We have Moxie Present, which is the CMA, the interactive presentations for sellers, for buyers, Moxie Impress, all of those automated marketing tools, MoxiEngage, which we're going to dive into today. And that's your CRM, and it's built specifically for real estate agents. I dare say by real estate agents, and Moxie websites, which we'll get to, I believe, in the future. So we're going to be dealing again with MoxiEngage today. So our agenda today, Brett, the famous Brett from MoxiWorks, is going to do a little bit about database tune-up and database strategy. And I may have flipped those around. Also creating a saved search. We'll go into the product itself and we'll show you a live demo. We do have some slides as well. After we do the live demo, we do have step-by-step instructions so that if you want to go back through the slide deck and kind of look at it maybe on a different screen as you're doing it, I always say it's like my GPS. I like to look at it while I'm doing it so that I know I'm in the right spot. We'll show you where you can get support and then a quick survey at the end and some Q&A. So we'll jump right into it with some best practices. So again, this session is intended to give you some basic customized training for MoxiEngage. So we will be going through database tune-up, strategy, and saved searches. So I'm going to hand this over to Brett. I can scroll through the slides if you'd like me to. If you want to take it over.
That'd be great.
Yeah.
Thank you. Well, so thank you all for joining us. Really appreciate it. Now, today, the last few sessions has been a lot of information about the products. Here's all the different things it does and walking you through different things. For this session, we're kind of taking a little bit of a step back and talking a lot more about the why and some of the best practices that are related to it. Obviously, there's a lot of training on every bit of minutia of here's how you do this or how you do that. But we have found that when working with companies that it's really important to take some initial steps ahead of time, because we know that, a goal without a strategy is just kind of a wish, right? So what are we going to talk about today? Well, number one, best practices for staying in flow with your sphere of influence. We're going to talk about why this is so critical. people. We're going to talk about how important it is to drive more business from the people that are already in your database, leveraging email in your marketing strategy, the importance of marketing segmentation, and some campaign best practices. Go ahead and go on to the next there. So you can tell this is my deck because there's a stormtrooper. First, we're going to talk about how to discover your true strengths. So as an agent, you need to kind of take a little step ahead of time and figure out, okay, what kind of real estate professional are you? My leads focused and my sphere focused. Obviously, MoxiEngage has a lot of wonderful productivity, I call it a productivity system built in to really help you to stay in touch with your sphere. And we know year after year, NAR tells us through their profile of home buyers and sellers that the sphere is generally where the majority of business comes from. However, that's not to say that working hard to convert online leads, whether they're paid or whether you're generating them in other ways, is not also a great pillar of a business, right? So when you're starting to think about what your strategy should look like, what should my database look at, it's important to take this step and say, my mindset really needs to drive where we want to go. So, am my leads and my sphere, are we looking to do a little bit of both? And then really kind of put those decisions into play. Put that stake in the ground. Say, look, I know that my business should be 70% sphere, 30% leads. So this is the strategy I'm going to go with. And so that's going to inform my decisions as I keep heading forwards. So how do we do this? Well, there's kind of a three-part little exercise that I would say that you could do. Number one, obviously know your business. Look back at the last year. Where did your business come from? If you haven't measured in the past, where were my sources of my transactions? The great thing is that MoxiEngage will help you to do that. But it's important to take a look at this. What percentage of my business comes from leads? What percentages come from the sphere? And then look, am I happy with that, right? So now we want to figure out, okay, well, this is the past. This is what I've been doing traditionally. Is it working awesome for me? Or is it something I'm going, hey, you know what? I need to pivot a little bit because maybe I was too reliant on online leads or whatever it may be. So now where do I want my business to go? So we take a look at that data and take a look at our market and say, okay, well, is there an opportunity there for me to perhaps grow market share and, do things a little bit different so that I can actually do more business in less time? We know that it takes a lot of time to nurture online leads. It takes a lot of time to do the different things. And you as, anytime I'm out traveling and speaking at conferences, it seems like anytime I talk to an agent, how are you doing? Well, I'm slammed, right? Everybody's slammed because the markets are so busy. Well, what can we do to structure our business so that perhaps we're getting more done in less time, right? So how are we going to connect our business strategy back to our daily mindset and activities? Because we know that the most successful agents in the country typically are the ones who can do the activities day in and day out that their counterparts aren't willing to do, right? So look at your data. Where am I at before, or perhaps right now, kind of an audit? Where do I want to go? And then what am I going to do and put plans in place to take me there, right? So once you go all in, how does this plan support my efforts? And then obviously what tools, system choices am I going to help? They're going to help me optimize. So for example, if I want to do more local sphere business, perhaps I'm mostly buyer related, I want to try to get more listings. Do I decide, okay, well, this is the year I'm going to go all in on local sphere, maybe some radius mailings, maybe creating some assets about different parts of my hometown that I can share. I change up my campaign strategy for emails and go away from perhaps maybe I had an educational approach of here's the 10 steps to get ready to sell a house. And maybe I've done that a couple of times. So maybe I'm going to do, every month, here's what's going on in our neighborhoods and make it much more personalized or local, right? So you have all these decisions to kind of figure out and hash out a little bit of a strategy before you put these tools into play. So the great thing for you is that Engage is literally structured, built around that sphere selling methodology, because we know, again, that's where it makes your business. And we do so by trying to make it as easy as possible for you, right? We know that for most people, this is the remote control of our life, right? Our little iPhones right here. And what can we do to make things easier for you? Well, one thing that we've done is we made it super easy for you to sync your email contacts and calendar. So when you're looking at your tasks or your calendar on your Engage dashboard, it's not just my business tasks. My calendar might say, hey, make sure you send a CMA to this person, but also don't forget that Jenny has soccer practice at 5 o'clock or whatever it may be, right? So we try to make it super simple. If you're out at a cocktail party and meet somebody and you put them in your contacts, they'll automatically sync with Engage. You're not having to do double entry. You can pull up your contacts in Engage on your phone and then decide, okay, I want to call this person and record it quickly and easily, because we know that if you're in your database all day, you're far more likely to use it to its best possible extent. Because, if you're saying, oh, I have to go back at the end of the day and then record everything I've done, that's going to be an issue. And Jen, great question. If you haven't synced your contacts, yes, you do have the ability to do it later. You will run the risk, obviously, if you've entered in a bunch of contacts, you may have some duplicates, but that's easy enough to clean up as you go. So let's go ahead and go on to the next slide. So how do we turn that list of names into a business generation powerhouse? And some of this is going to be perhaps antithetical to what you might have heard before, but this is something that I've put together over a decade of working with agents to help them to do more business. And number one is we have to narrow and focus our approach ruthlessly. A lot of agents in the past have taken this shotgun approach where, hey, I have 10,000 contacts and I send them all the exact same information. Now, the law of numbers, we know, can happen, can help. Perhaps this can work a little bit. Our database might turn over 5% a year or whatever it may be. But in this day and age in 2022, we can tell when you're getting just a drip email that has nothing really to do with you. I'm sure all of you, when you check your email in the morning, you've received those emails and you'll look and say, wow, my spidey sense is tingling. I know that this isn't related to me, right? Personalization matters. So that's why you need to narrow your focus to say, okay, here's my main groups and what am I going to send to them? And when am I going to send it? Because number two, you can see not all of these relationships are the same when it comes to the time to nurture, right? Sometimes they take much longer. Sometimes they don't take quite as much time. Sometimes you need to be a little bit more aggressive. Sometimes, hey, if it's a past client that I've worked with a few times, maybe I don't need to hit them up 2-3 times a month. Perhaps just once a month might work. And the other part is the quality of your database takes time. You might have a big database, but how many of these people do you actually have relationships with, right? My test is always, out of my leads, out of my contacts, what percentage that if I was at a restaurant and walked over and said hello to them, A, I would recognize them, and B, they would recognize me, right? And if you do that, you're going to probably find that you've got a top 150 to 200 that's really your profitable list. Like, this is the hot list. These are the folks that I really need to stay in flow with. So it's important to you only have so much time. So the nice thing again about Engage is you can use lots of features in terms of different groups and different campaigns so that you can make your focus and hit up people so that it matters to them. I remember when I bought my first condo, literally the first email I got from my realtor after that was, hey, congratulations. It was great working with you. Here's my newsletter. And the headline was, here's 10 great gardening tips. Well, part of the reason I bought a condo is because I traveled a lot at the time. I didn't garden. There was nowhere to garden, right? So it just instantly let me know, okay, this person has a newsletter. They probably pay for it and they just drip it on me. And I wasn't into that, right? So it's important that we evaluate our relationships and build them accordingly to whatever degree we can. So having the flexibility to do some different multi-channel marketing is important. So we say that databases are business drivers. This shouldn't be news to anybody on the call. So how can we use Engage to do more business? Well, number one, it can be customized for workflows. So for example, when I get a new lead coming on my website, it will automatically do some things for me, or reach out to them, say hello, it'll pull them in as a contact. I can pull up that contact, and if they've registered on my website, I can actually see what properties have they favorited. Have they left any comments saying, hey, wow, I really love the kitchen on this one, whatever it may be. right? You can go ahead and put in some notes. You can see over on their example, Isaac over here. Hey, we ran into Isaac at the soccer game. They were freshmen at UW. They're raving. They love CrossFit, right? So having those notes in there can help you kind of tune what your marketing is and what the different things are. And it's very easy to click on that log activity for anything that's not automatically logged. It's super easy to log an activity like, hey, I messaged them through Facebook and said hello, or I had a quick coffee, right? Having integrations is great. We work, obviously, Present and Engage work incredibly well together. Our websites and Engage work incredibly well together. And then there's third-party companies that we have relationships with as well, like Real Scout or Buyside, that you can utilize to really kind of offer another level of service. And then the easiest, here, if you don't mind going back, and Teresa, I'll get to your question in just a second. Can we go back one slide? Oh, back. There we go. Lastly, neighborhood news. Easiest way to generate more business. And we have found again and again, when we launch this to companies, and again, we're over 10 years into this point, you literally can upload all your contacts. And if you add them all to neighborhood news with a little note saying, hey, I've just got this wonderful new market update. I think it's fantastic. It's interactive. Check it out. Let me know what you think. Just by doing that, we find that agents again and again get 1 to 2 extra deals, because it's either that person didn't know they were going to look, but they end up looking, or if their friend says, hey, you know what, I'm really, I'm starting to look in the market, you're staying top of mind, right? So it's targeted, it's specific, and it's interactive, and I know most markets, and again, I have a lot of realtor friends on Facebook and LinkedIn, and a lot of markets, your MLS or your local board of realtors will create stats. So, hey, here's our stats for last month. Well, instead of just sending the stats out as a static page, being able to send them these neighborhood news where they can go in and make the decisions themselves of what zip code am I looking at? Do I want to look at actives, or am I just curious about what things are selling for? And making it interactive like that makes it hugely powerful. And we find that the unsubscribe rate on that is very, very low. So let's go ahead and hop forward there. So campaigns, we talked about campaigns and mixing things up. We've just got some suggestions here for some effective campaigns that you can use. An explainer video series, because Engage and Present are able to use rich media like a YouTube video, having these little videos, and they don't have to be perfect, really can help out. What it's like to work with me and my company, answering local real estate questions, right? Hey, today we're going to talk about a comment that comes up a lot: property taxes. What do you have? What can you do if you don't agree with the value? Whatever it may be. You can do a campaign of walking people through that home buying or home selling process. But don't forget about your local area. Say, hey, you know what? Today I'm going to talk about my top 5 favorite coffee shops, or, hey, I want to talk about the events that are coming up in June. Make sure to check out this or that, or whatever it may be. So you can do something that's really valuable. And again, it might not be appropriate for everybody, but that's again where you can use groups to figure out, okay, well, if somebody's looking to relocate, they might want to know about different local charities and organizations and events, get a feel for the town they may be moving to. And then last but not least, contests. People love free stuff. So when you have those new local businesses move in, go in there and say, hey, I want to buy or get 20 gift cards that I can give away to help people come in and discover your business. And you'll find a lot of times they're going to be very happy to work with you on that. So for more information on saved searches, which will be coming up later, we'll just preface it here. On support.moxieworks.com, you can see that there's a create a new search for an engaged client. And I'm going to give you guys a hack for that support website. A lot of times people think support, I only go here to fix a problem. Well, no, there's dozens of videos to help you do things. Because we've been around for 10 years, over 10 years, I promise you, if you go to Google and just type in save search MoxiEngage and search, it will pull up 9 times out of 10. It will pull up that help article right there at the top. So you don't have to try to navigate the site and say, is that under best tips, or is that under tutorials, or what? So asking Google the question first will often give you the answer that you're looking for. All right, so we talked about our strategy. That's kind of step one. And then now we're going to talk about the tune-up, right? So this could be done once you've uploaded or before. How important it is. Once you have the strategy, I know what I want to do with my database. I know what I want to do with my business. Next, we want to make sure that our contacts and we've set up Engage to work the way we want it to. So before we dive into a lot more of the whys, I thought it was important to talk about the contact, just kind of how they work and Engage and all the different kind of information you can find. And so this is specifically when you pull up My People, you'll see that list of contacts. So this is kind of a guide in terms of what everything is. So the name of contact obviously is their name. The date modified, that's the last time any change was made. Recent activity, so you can see under C, subscription for listing announcements was created. C was the listing, was the recent activity. D, activity details, was this right here. So we set up Brian on a listing announcement. E, category. Categories are different from groups. Categories are hard-coded in MoxiEngage. There's something that you can assign to every contact, and then they will receive different types of marketing. You'll have different types of tasks related to their contact type, right? So that's, category. Now, F, that is our groups and lead sources. So we can find out what groups do they belong to, and they can belong to multiple groups, and we'll find out where that lead source was, right? Did it come from Leads Engine? Did it come from Zillow? Did it come from my website? Wherever it may be. Over here on the right are our quick buttons, right? Over here. So if we want to log activity, all we have to do is click on that and we can easily add an activity. Did I just send them a text through at Facebook? Did I shoot them a text message in general? Did I do, what did I do? Did I call them on the phone, etc.? If I want to reach out to go ahead and message right there, I can click on H for email and send them an email, or I click on the phone and call them directly from the contact page. So again, we make it very easy for you to be able to reach out to people very quickly, or groups of people to say and touch base and do whatever you're looking to do. But you can see that it's a pretty robust in terms of the information you get just from that one little screen. So for My People, one of the first things you'll do when you have contacts come in is you're going to want to go ahead and categorize them or add campaigns, right? So you can see here, I have 470 people in my database. So here's some folks that I've got some suggested actions for, right? So all of these people aren't subscribed to neighborhood news, right? So I can click on the subscribe button and in one click, basically subscribe these folks, boom, 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 to neighborhood news. Or I could decide to skip it. Maybe I've already reached out to that person. So groups versus categories, again, categories are the color buttons over on the right or on the left, past buyer, past seller, or past buyer. They can be multiple categories. The groups are over in here. You can see the date I brought them in. Are they past buyers? And one thing I've always coached my agents is don't just have past buyer, past seller, have the year, right? Because depending if they bought 10 years ago, it's a much different conversation than if they bought 1 year ago, right? So again, I can do that to make it easier to send out personalized messages that really speak to them, that make a lot of sense. So, you can send out emails and do messaging campaigns based on categories or groups. But I think that the group functionality is one of the best things about it because it just makes it super easy. For example, too, is if you have a campaign that goes out to all past buyers and I bring in a new contact, if I assign them to past buyer, they automatically get signed up for my past buyer campaign. So again, there's some automation there to make my life a lot easier as we're going forward. So the categorize wizard is another thing that you'll want to do when you first get into MoxiEngage. How do we get there? From My People, you're going to select categorize wizard. And then basically it gives you this great list where I can decide for each one of these folks, who are they? So under client, I can decide, are they a buyer, a seller, past buyer, past seller, or both, or I can create a marketing plan if there's somebody I just want to work with. Non-clients are very different. Non-clients are Down here, they're going to be a personal contact. My aunt in Kansas City doesn't necessarily care about the real estate market in New Jersey, right? They're a collaborator. Hey, it's my local home inspector or other agents or whatever it may be. But talking again about what you can do for the marketing plans, it will also show us qualify this lead. These are folks that, yes, that is true, Bob. If you do have labels in Gmail, those will come across as groups. So you can create a marketing plan. It's basically your default. If they haven't bought or sold from you before, you're always going to create a marketing plan. And now that we talked about our non-clients, again, personal collaborators and remove them. So when you first do that sync, it may bring in a lot of great contacts. It may also bring in 1-800-Flowers. It might bring in, hey, I get email from Travelocity still, whatever it may be. And that way you can quickly and easily just say, nope, I'm not going to use that. And you can remove them from Engage, right? So you can very quickly get out some of that, some of those contacts that aren't really contacts that you're going to be using for your real estate business very quickly and easily. If you do remove them from Engage, it does not remove them from your email, by the way. Important to mention. Now, if we look at our contact, we actually have under the notes a lot of features that you can actually add in. So I wanted to go over those because, again, this is going to help you to be more personal in your approach. So obviously we have name, address, cell phone, all of that sort of thing. But you can also have relationships, right? Were they referred by somebody? Are they the child or spouse of somebody? If it's an agent contact, is this person an assistant to an agent, whatever it may be? Important dates, right? Birthdays. Everybody knows where to find birthdays now, right? Facebook, yay. So birthdays. You can add in anniversaries, and then of course the date that all realtors love is house anniversary. Now, some of these, good point, Teresa, some of these don't actually show up on the CSV file. If you download the CSV, those are the options you have to upload. Any of the other ones, if you try to add in categories, it's not going to work. So the majority of information does upload through our CSV, but there are some that you have to do a little bit more manually. Personal profile, you can add a field just to put notes about that person. How did I meet them? What do I know about them, etc. And then, of course, social media links. There's also things you can add in. We always like to mention, are there things that they're known for that give you a reason to reach out? College, where did they go to school? Are they into certain teams for sports? What are their interests and hobbies? And I can tell you that this is used every day very effectively. Anybody who I've met, or if you've ever found me online, I'm a unabashed Star Wars obsessed person. My name is Jedi Real Estate everywhere, right? Jedi Real Estate. So inevitably, when Star Wars news happens, what happens? I have a bunch of people reach out about that news. Now, maybe some of them just remembered it off the top of the head, but I guarantee you that in a lot of databases, it says this guy's a geek and loves Star Wars. So they know to reach out about that kind of news, right? Same things with sports. But I'm a big Tampa Bay Lightning fan. We're doing well in the Stanley Cup playoffs. So I've had a lot of people reach out. Hey, you're a Lightning fan, right? Hey, great job. And I've had marketers use that. So it gives you a reason to reach out, and it makes them feel like you remembered them, depending on your approach. So that is what I have for database tune-up and strategy. And now I'd like to pitch it back to my friend Angie, who's going to talk about creating saved searches in MoxiEngage. I'm also going to scroll back through the chat, and I will answer some questions that I may have missed in the chat.
All righty, so we're gonna go in. Thanks for that, Brett. I'm used to Teams, so I was looking for the little heart button. It keeps sending you the little hearts up there to let you know I was really excited for that stuff, and it wasn't there. But I know from just myself using a CRM for years and years that I'm really excited about a lot of the features that are in there. And once you get in and you really get comfortable with it, so definitely give yourself time. Be easy on yourself. You're learning something new. And while I've used a million different CRMs, it's like driving a car. I drive an itty bitty toaster. I have a Scion XB. Sometimes when I go with my friend, I have to drive her Escalade. it's still driving a vehicle, but it's a separate beast. So, learning maybe where the windshield wipers are or where different things are in the vehicle. It's the same thing with the CRM. We just have to get comfortable learning where everything is and how it works for us and our business. So I'm going to share my screen with you. Hopefully you guys can see that we are in kind of the agnostic brand here, and I'm going to go to Engage. So if somebody could just let me know that you could see my screen.
All good, Angie.
Okay, good. Just want to make sure it's working. When we do live demo, I'm always just a little bit nervous that something's not going to work, but here we go. So we're going to do this together, and we're going to do we're going to create a saved search. So I am going to go into the agent mode over here. We're going to pretend like I'm Caitlin today because I do have Caitlin's account. And that's going to throw me in. Oh, and here we go. We have a little message here. I'm just going to click off of that real quick. And what we're going to do is we're going to find the people tab here at the top left, and then I'm going to click on my people. So I've gone into Engage. I make sure for this one, I have to delegate if I'm an agent or a manager. If you're an agent, it's just going to throw you right in. We're going to go to people, and we're going to go to my people. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go in here and I'm going to look for my specific client that I want to set up this saved search for this particular person. If she's not, he or she's not already in there, I can add them right here and add people. If for whatever reason I search for her and she's not here, here she is. So I did cheat a little bit. That's me. So I went in and have been playing around a little bit in Engage. So once I pull this person up, I can see that Angie is a client, or, is she a non-client? Right now, she's a client. I can switch her if I had wanted to. I do also like to always point out one of my very favorite things in Engage. If you're like me, and I know you guys are super, super busy, there's an activity. You'll see here a little activity tab, and you can actually go in and see all of the activities. You can see I was kind of in here doing a bunch of stuff yesterday, just kind of fooling around with the system and practicing, because that's how I learn things and get better at them. And here you can go in and actually create custom activity. Do I need to reach out to Angie? Did I leave her a voicemail? Did I connect with her on social media? So like Brett was saying earlier, you can go in here and you can add this stuff. And just for me personally, if I met Angie in an open house, I might come back into Engage next week and not remember who the heck she is. But I can leave myself some notes here if I want to. So just, that's a freebie for you. Just throwing that out there. If you're like me, I like to add lots of notes into my CRM so that I always know who I'm talking to, what's going on with them, how we met, how I know them, etc. For the created search, we're going to go into faves and saves. So again, we went into people, we went into my people, then we're going to go into our faves and saves tab. And you'll see I don't have any save searches right now to show for Angie. So I'm just going to go ahead and click on that blue bar, and I'm going to create a search. And this is going to pull up, because it's Caitlin's account, it's going to pull up in New Jersey. Yours should automatically pull up in your MLS area. What I'm going to do now is I am going to search for a property for her. I'm going to pretend that she just got a brand new job and she is looking to move close to her job. So I'm going to put her in Daytona. So I don't know if we have any NASCAR fans out there, but we're going to go with Daytona. Like the beach, the houses are pretty. It's going to give us something to look at while we learn. So here it's going to pull up. You can see there's 125 listings that are as close to this particular property. And I'll show you in just 1 second something else that we can do with that. Now, of course, I don't probably want to send her 125 listings. That's a little bit much. So I am going to whittle this down. And I'm going to make sure that I'm sending her houses within her price range. So, she's talked to me about wanting to move in this area. She's looking for anything. Now, I want to make sure here that I have a minimum. So maybe she has a minimum of 0, or maybe she has a minimum, she wants something a little fancier. If somebody's looking at a $500,000 house and they want anything up to $500,000, I can do that. But I can also whittle that down and say, well, maybe she really wants something 250 and above. She doesn't want anything to fix up. I can do that as well. And then her max we'll just say is 500,000. So she's looking between this. I know that's a really wide range, but just for the sake of putting numbers in there, we're going to pull that up and you can see I did that purposely to see that we still have 71 listings, and that's still a lot. And we know how buyers are. Some are a little pickier than others, but usually they can tell you how many beds and how many baths they want. So let's say that Angie wants 3 bedrooms and 2 bathrooms, and we're going to apply that. And now we've whittled it down to 54 listings. But wait, there's more. We can also click on the filters tab here, and it's going to give us more options. So maybe she was very clear with us that she does not want a condo. She wants only a single family home. But we can click all of the things here. If she doesn't really care, just send me everything. However, you're going to see when I click on rentals, all of that goes away. So rentals are just rentals are just rentals. But for this sake, she's looking to buy. We're going to use that single family home. Here you can determine the listing status. So maybe this particular client only wants active properties. She wants something that she can go in. She can actually place an offer on it. She doesn't want to see stuff that's sold. She doesn't want to see all the listings. And I'm going to exclude the pending listings as well, because again, this particular client only wants to look at things that are available on the market. So then here for open houses, I'm not going to send those to her, but if you wanted to send those, you could. Square footage, acreage, maybe she has something specific. Maybe she said, I really need a garage. I have a hot rod, I need a garage. Maybe she wants to be on the waterfront. Any of those things, you're able to choose those. And of course, we know the more criteria we put in, the less input we're going to receive, because there are going to be fewer things on the market that are going to hit all of them. So now I'm going to apply that. And you can see that I have I have 34 listings. Another really great thing that I love about this is on the map, you'll see that I'm hovering over the very first top property on the left. And if you look over on the right-hand side on the map, you'll see that 300K and that red dot. That is this property. If I hover over the next one, you're going to also see that's going to move up to 299K on the top of the map. And here we've moved back down next door to that first property at 317. Now, what if I don't want to do my search this way? You do have options. You can look at schools, public schools, private schools, show those on the map as well. You can also go in and do a quick draw. If someone comes to you and says, I only want to live in this neighborhood, or I want to live on this block. Trust me, I've dealt with buyers that are very specific. I only want to live here. And we know the market is crazy, and sometimes what they want is there and sometimes it's not, but we can hit that quick draw button and we can literally just draw anywhere on the map that we want. You can see my drawing wasn't great, but now I have 22 listings in this area that she might want to be in. We also have the multi-draw. So that is the one a lot of you are probably very familiar with this too. You probably have it in your MLS and you're able to draw, again, the shape on the map. Now I have 35 listings. And again, that's going to be part of the criteria that I already have in the system. Another nice thing is I can come back in and I can change this. Maybe she says, maybe I only need 2 bedrooms, or I do need another bathroom, or I'm not finding what I'm looking for. Can you send me townhouses as well? We can do that as well, apply those changes, and it will update. I can also do a radius. So maybe I want to say, okay, she wants to live here, and then we're going to go ahead and bring that radius out. You'll see I drew a really large radius, and then I do have to hit that run search. So that run search, now I'm getting 26 listings. Now the reason that I put a very specific address in here, like I could have just said Daytona Beach. I could have just said Charlotte or wherever it is in the country that you're looking for, and it's going to automatically pull that up, and you'll see Daytona Beach, that particular area, it's going to pull those. One thing that fascinates me is you get that buyer that comes to you and says, you know, I just got a new job and I want to live X amount of space from, or now that I work from home and I can live anywhere, I want to live near the beach. Can you give me, you know, a house that only has a 15-minute commute to the beach? So I can take that, I can put in a specific address for that place of employment, for, you know, something right next to the beach. I can hit the little car right here for the INRIX drive time. And I can say, okay, this particular client wants to leave at 7:30 a.m. Let's say they want to leave at 7:30. They want to get wherever it is they're going early. They only want to have a 15-minute commute. I want to find listings. So you can see here, no listings. That's okay. Let's see if a later time here, let's say they want a half an hour, find listings. And now we've got some listings. So this is a crazy map over here, but it's letting us know that if that person leaves at 8 a.m. and they want to have a half an hour, within a half an hour commute at 8 a.m. So it's taking in all of the drive time factors. And you can see earlier in the day, they weren't getting a 15-minute commute, probably because there's a lot of heavy traffic there. But you can do that as well. So let's say that this right here is the search that I want to send to my particular client. I have 34 listings. If you think that's too much, you can go into filters, you can whittle that down. But let's say that this is okay for me. I'm going to go ahead and hit the email and settings button. Once I set that up, once I click that button, it's going to give me the name of the search. So right here, I probably don't need this, but maybe, you know, homes for sale in Daytona Beach. I'm not a very super formal person, so I'm just going to say in Daytona Beach. Here I've created a saved search for you in Daytona Beach. Take a look around, feel free to make changes. Guess what? I can type whatever I want in here, make it personalized. Like Brett said, I'm going to make this very personal for her based on our, you know, conversation at the open house, or, hey, congrats again on that new position. I'm so happy for you. You get to live at the beach where you've always dreamed. You know, you can live anywhere now. Here, I'm also going to go in and determine the frequency for how often this client is going to receive these. So once a day, I have had investors that are like, hey, can you send me updates every day? Well, yeah, I can. Hourly, that's a bit much. That might be something I would set myself up on if I'm looking for something specific. Never is if I want to set it up and kind of have it in the background, I can send it later. But we're just going to do weekly. I'm also not going to send this out if there's no new listings. It's going to send her an email that says, hey, we haven't forgotten about you. I didn't forget about you, but there's nothing to report. Because remember, I always remember that my clients used to say that the biggest problem that they had was communication. I found that they've never told me that I communicated too much, but they did kind of tell me if I communicated too little. The next thing is you'll see over here on the right-hand side, your brokerage, your name, all of that will autofill. And this is what's going to pop up for them. Because we don't have an app, it is mobile optimized, which means if this client opens it on the laptop, on the tablet, on the phone, it's going to format for them and they're going to see it exactly the way that they need to. It's going to look beautiful. And then we're going to save and send to this particular client. Once we click that button, it'll take it a second and then it will throw us into the next screen. Hopefully, if my internet cooperates. Yeah, it's thinking. So don't ever panic too much like I am now that it's not doing anything. It could be my internet. Yeah, it's thinking. But generally it sends us into the next screen, and that's where we're also able to customize the neighborhood news to this particular search. It gives you the opportunity to say, hey, you know what? I'm sending this client this particular search that this person really, really wants. And now this person's also going to get neighborhood news for this particular area as well. And here we're going to hit cancel, and that's going to send us back, but it would send you into the next screen. So let's hear it for live demos that don't always cooperate, but it'd be really easy for me to just go back in. Again, I'll show you how easy this is. We're just going to put that in. We're going to do our price. We're just going to go up to, we're going to do our minimum. And once you get used to it, you get comfortable, you'll get a lot faster at it. It won't take you as long. And that's the efficient part of this. So we're going to go ahead and apply. Now we've got some more in there. We're going to email those. We're just going to leave that there. I'm going to go ahead and do weekly and save and send. So hopefully this time my internet will cooperate or not. Brett, did I miss anything?
I don't think you did. I thought you laid it out really well, and having the slides is always nice to refer back to. Obviously, we do have some support guides for this online. But yes, I thought you did a great job showing how to use it and why.
Okay, let's see if we can get this to work again. All right. So we will send the slideshow out, the deck again, just so that you guys will have this information again, going into my people, choosing your client, going into faves and saves, hitting that create search button. If they already have a search, you will see that here. You can also click and do right down here, add save search. And again, it's going to show you that screen there, and it'll access your area per your MLS. Again, location, price, bed and bath, filters, sending that out, email and settings. And here you'll be able to see again where you can put in the title for that. Make sure their email address is correct. Make sure that frequency is set up how you'd like it. The save and send button. And then here's what you guys didn't see. This is really all we would have seen. Here we can view, we can edit, or we can delete that, and it will pop up usually and say, do you want to also customize your neighborhood news? You select yes, and it's really that easy. You can go in and edit anytime, or again, delete. We do have a lot of support. So moving forward, support.moxieworks.com. Bookmark that. I go there frequently, even for things that I'm really confident in using, just because I want to see if there's another tip or trick or something else I can do with it. If you have any technical issues, please do go to support.moxieworks.com and click on the submit a ticket. They do have an Autobot feature. So when you chat, it will try to give you automated answers. If not, if you don't like that, you can always chat with the live representative. And again, bookmark that, supportmoxieworks.com. Always can also go in. One of my other favorites with Moxie is you can ask for features that you want, and they're listening. I can actually attest to this. When I started using Moxie Present for my presentations, a lot of the agents in my office were like, look, we would like to have different covers for our presentation if we print it out, and there's not that option, and Moxie listened to us, and now there's options in there for that. So they're definitely in there listening. And you can also go to the resources in your brand university. So if you go into your portal, into your brand university, you'll have a participant tab. You can get a getting started guide. There's self-paced learning courses as well. So I don't know if there's anything that we missed in chat, or anybody wants to come off of their, mute and ask a question.
I have a really quick question.
Sure.
I've got a client that took a couple leads And what he did was these leads were Spanish speaking, and he wanted to refer them to a Spanish speaking agent within his office. We looked in the Moxie, the support.moxieworks.com, and I couldn't figure out a way to just refer the client to somebody else, but we could add someone else to, his contact list. Is that the process that needs to be done, or is there something that I'm missing?
Yeah, there's not a built-in functionality within MoxiWorks to do that. I don't know about Leads Engine because that's a Realogy product. I don't know if you've received the lead through Leads Engine, if there's a way to reassign that lead to somebody. But I know within Moxie, there's not a direct send this contact to somebody else feature. So.
Added that other agent on as another agent associated with the client.
You could do that, yeah, and then assign them a task. Yeah, you can do that and assign them a task. That's kind of the workaround. Yeah.
Okay, I just checking. Thank you.
Not a problem.
Any other questions? And I would say too, while you're learning, something that I did, I don't know that everybody has as many Gmail accounts as I do, but I went into MoxiEngage and I added myself. And I set myself up on some saved searches. I set myself up on the neighborhood news and the customized neighborhood news to go in and actually see what that looks like from the consumer's point of view. And I was really excited because I just like to look at real estate. Like I could probably tell you a lot about where I live and different parts of the country, just because I'm always going in and looking at them. But it helps you to know your own area a little bit better too. So just a thought.
I know you weren't covering campaigns today. Do we have a second where I can ask a quick question on that?
Sure. We have
So-
bread, so we'll use them.
Okay, so, and I have a ticket in and it's been escalated. I'm just curious if anyone else is having this issue. Within the campaigns, there's like an email header at the top with our headshot and our information, but it has our office phone number on it. And then if it's one of the campaigns that has the phone number in the body of the email, again, it has the office number. And our agents don't want their SOI calling the office. They want them calling their cell phone. Is this the way it's intended to be? Is there going to be somewhere down the road where we can edit this, change this? We've tried everything under the sun and no one's been able to help us with this.
As far as I understand, it's actually designed that way because there are states where you have to have the office number. So they basically created it to err on the side of caution. The workaround on that is basically to have in the text, for more information, call this cell phone number. And that seems to be how people get around it. I'm not aware of any options to be able to change that, but support would be the people to talk to about that. So
yeah, we've escalated and nobody can figure that out. Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Any other questions?
Yeah.
I know that the wonderful Debbie did put our lovely survey in the chat. So if you guys could take our survey, we want to make sure that we're giving you the best service possible, that we're giving you guys good stuff that's going to help you make more money. And do we have another question?
I have a question.
Go ahead.
It seems like the Google accounts are easy to get my contacts from there, but my Outlook, I'm having, let's just say I haven't had success yet to get the Outlook contacts. Is there suggestions? Is there a video already that I'm missing that I should watch?
Brett, I'm going to defer to you.
Yeah, so there is a help article on that, and I'm going to put it in the chat for you.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
I knew you could find that faster than I could.
And the same with can it go from our greenhouse contacts in .loop? Can they go directly, or would we have to?
That I don't think there are. I think you'd have to export those and import those. Although we do have a .loop, we have .loop functionality and a partnership with them, but that's something that's going to be coming later on in terms of the Realogy agreement, as integrating more of the partners. So here, I'm going to drop it in the chat right now for you.
All right, thank you.
Yeah, and our final survey is in the chat. If you scroll up a little bit, I believe that Debbie has placed that in the chat. Any, we only have a minute or so left, but are there any testimonials? Anybody that's already using Engage that loves something or is really excited to go in and use some, save searches? Anybody? I love it. I'll just say I love it. I'm always excited to get my emails, the new properties that are popping up. It's really pretty. It's easy to see from a consumer standpoint.
Yeah, and I'll say that, when we take a look at usage stats, we find that agents who use more campaigns, and especially do kind of what I was teaching, which is personalized, make it so I'm sending different types of information to different types of people. It really can make a significant amount of difference in their business. Because if you think about it, the average person now, it used to be they bought a home every 6 to 7 years. Now we're seeing that stretch out a bit to 7 and 8 years. So the name of the game with your sphere is just to stay top of mind. So being able to send out good, relevant information. And the easiest test is just take a step back and say, hey, if I received this email from myself, would I find it valuable? Are there things in here that maybe I'm not in the market right now, but would I receive this and go, hey, I'm glad I took the time to read this and not just delete it. So, that's the eternal struggle, right? Is getting people to use their database, because we know it will help push their business, but we try to make it as easy as possible for you guys.
And just the one last question that I'm seeing, how are you getting the emails? I literally just went into Engage and I took my personal Gmail that I don't use for work. There's no real estate allowed in my personal Gmail, because y'all know we get like 5,000 emails a day. And when I'm done with work, I don't want to look at it in my personal email. And I actually did break my own rule and I put that in, and I do get the saved searches in my personal. And those I like, because again, I don't see that as work. It's kind of fun. I love to look at the different houses and the prices and see what's going on in my neighborhood. If there's something maybe that I missed during the day, just a great way to do that. So thanks everyone for coming to our session today. We will email you the recording link for this particular session and some helpful tools and tricks, as well as the presentation, the slides, the deck. And if you have anything that you need help with, please don't hesitate to reach out to us. You can email us at moxieworkslaunch@realogy.com. We are here to help you, support you any way that we can. Again, the goal is always to be really successful, and these products will make you money. That's the bottom line. So thanks so much. Have a great day, and we will see you guys in 2 weeks at the next one.